Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Craig Perrer from The Mindful Habit, and you are listening to Sex Afflictions and Porn Addiction. So honored and privileged that you are here, and so honored, privileged that we have a special guest with us here today. And, I have been preaching that the cure for this affliction is the aggressive pursuit of a great life. And I've based that upon my study of success stories and, starting backwards. When you look at this journey backwards, there's no one, I think, mediocre or average, faring well with their compulsive behavior. Someone who's been successful is moving forward in all aspects of their lives. And we have someone with us today joining us who has used this opportunity to, make great in his life. Tim, I want to welcome you to the podcast.
It's good to be here. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know you're inspired to share your journey, and let's start by going back. Let's frame, these stories are only as good as this, where did you come from story. And I know there are times like me where you were in a dark place, were underachieving, not being the best you. What did bottom look like for you?
Well, originally, my story is pretty much like most folks with this affliction. I come from a background of verbal abuse and physical abuse and sexual abuse. Um, that's my past, and that's pretty common with most folks that deal with this. Um, I raised in a small town, um, had a father that was just extremely verbally abusive. Uh, just call me every derogatory name in the book, and tell me that I was a piece of crap, and so much so that he's my father. I believed him for a long time. Uh, Physical abuse and sexual abuse too. So painful upbringing, like most folks that deal with this.
Yeah, I know it's definitely a common thing, and that negative upbringing, that programming, as we like to call it, stayed with you. How did that impact the development of your sexuality?
Oh man. Um, I've been dealing with this for a long time. I'm in my 50s. I can remember acting out to pornography. When I was well, the Sears catalog, which was pornography at the time. When I was 8, 9, 10 years old. When it became an addiction, I'm not really certain. But I've been dealing with it for a long time. In my in my teens, I was extremely socially awkward, um, and I don't think I dated until I was in my early 20s. So it really stunted my social growth. It stunted everything. I was extremely socially awkward, um, pretty much, for half my life.
And eventually, this came to a head, Tim, where you knew you had to do something about it. What was that time like for you?
When I originally when I sought help for the problem, originally the first route that I took was a psychiatrist. I not only acted out to pornography, but I started going to strip clubs, and I admitted that to my wife, and she stuck with me, and strongly advise that that I seek help. And at that time, this was early internet. At that time, it was psychiatrist, and uh, it was it was terrible because I don't think he had any idea what to do with me. He actually suggested that I write pornography as a way to vent it. Um,
Ha, write it
and
out. Wow, that's a
yeah,
new one.
yeah, yeah. And he put me on antidepressants. And at one point, I was on two antidepressants at the same time, and they never really helped. I continued acting out to pornography, uh, and um, my wife didn't know anything about it. She thought that the psychiatrist had quote unquote cured me. I just learned to keep it more of a secret. And then as the internet came into being, and access to uh, porn on the internet, there was also access to people who could help you. And I sought out a number of programs, none of which helped. Um, I went to a church-led 12-step program, and that was of no help, no use. And some other online programs, and then I found you, and it helped me tremendously.
What a
Um,
journey it has been, huh, Tim? When you
yeah,
think
yeah,
about from those low points. So in the beginning, I want to take this in two phases and then bring us to kind of where you're at today, because I want people to understand and appreciate the opportunity that this discovery, that this realization that often comes in the form of so much shame and self-deprecation, this realization that this is not going well. I am not doing what I should be doing. I am not firing on all cylinders. My sex is completely screwed up. That realization is the birthplace. Is the place where it starts. So that's a good thing, and the future is so bright. But what did you do? What were some of the things you did early on that really helped you right the ship?
well, I mean, early on, meditation, um, hobbies, getting in, focusing on other things, um, um, socialization, spending more time with my family, um, activities like flying. At one point, I had my own airplane and was into flying. Um, you know, flying versus porn. That there wasn't you know much of a fight there. Um, and but I even so, I would still struggle. I would still have moments where uh, I even though I had a decent length of sobriety, I was still fighting it, and I was getting kind of lost.
And so there came a point in time when you said enough of this fighting. What does that next level look like? And that to me is so exciting, because I preach it, and you've lived it. So we talk about this aggressive pursuit of a great life. What did you do to take it to that next level? And why did you felt you needed to do that?
Well, I don't think it was anything that I thought about. I think it was just a natural progression. Um, I had taken up exercise um, when I started working with you, and um, and that helped me somewhat. And it was the typical exercise. It was go to the gym, lift some weights, um, run on the treadmill, 30 minutes, bam, I'm done. Watch some TV and go home. Um, and I found that uh, the harder that I would work at that, or the more intense the workout session became, I started seeing benefits. And that was initially through when I first started going to the gym, through the a coach there at the gym that you could hire to help you go through the exercises, because I had never been to a gym before, and when I first started, I was in my late 40s, and I had no idea what to do. So I figured, well, get an expert, and he can show me the way. And I found that the harder the workout, the more I enjoyed it. Um, and uh, Eventually, I gave up on the coach at the gym, and kind of went my own way. Started just going to the gym, working out, and I was looking for that hard workout that I'd experienced with these coaches, and I started searching online and found SealFit, uh, which is a company out in California, and they promote this really kind of intense type of exercise, kind of a CrossFit squared, and I started doing their exercise routine in my gym, and I really enjoyed it. And I started seeing some benefits. I was sleeping better, my mood was better, um, and so I took that a step further and looked for similar gyms in my area, and found CrossFit. Um, Went to a CrossFit gym, and found through my CrossFit gym a military, well, former military trainer who trains folks for endurance events. And the more I worked out at the CrossFit gym, and the more I worked out with this trainer, uh, the more amazing I began to feel.
So your
And
body's changing, Tim. Your mind is changing. What do those changes look like? Tell me, because you said something really interesting about the power of those thoughts that we talk so often about here. But yeah, just tell me about that transformation.
um, well, it's really multiple. I mean, there's the transformation in my body, which was pretty rapid. And it's not like I hadn't worked out at all. I had worked out at the gym, but I'd done the stuff that most guys do. I mean, you hang out at the gym for a half hour, 45 minutes, lift some weights, do this, do that, work the machines, and go home. Um, so when I initially did this, I was working out um, through the CrossFit gym and taking classes there, and working out with this trainer. So initially, I was working out a couple hours a week, and in 3 months, physically, I went through a major transformation. I lost um, a good deal of weight, and people started commenting on my appearance, and my wife started commenting on my appearance, which was kind of cool. But more than that, my whole heart and mind, I felt were becoming a lot stronger. Um, and you in your training, you always talk about um, about um, about the making making the right decision in that moment. Um, and when I was faced with an opportunity to or chance to look at pornography, I would always struggle. I'd win, but it would be a major pain and a fight. And I found that the more I worked out this way, the more I exercised this way, it wasn't a fight anymore. You know, um, it wasn't a fight. I was becoming stronger. My heart was becoming stronger. My mind was becoming stronger, and uh,
And
I
the
found,
pull was weaker too, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. And you said at one point when I was working with you that the pornography is as strong as you make it, um, and that the pull was becoming so much weaker. I would one thing that would really bother me was that I would wake up in the middle of the night. I would go through these cycles, and it wouldn't happen all the time, but I'd go through these cycles where I'd wake up in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in the morning with these visuals from movies or scenes uh, from from movies that I used to watch, and that stopped completely. And I would struggle with those urges and struggle and win, but it was always a fight. And I found that uh, it wasn't even a struggle anymore because those it wasn't even happening. And on the calls that I was on and through your groups, um, I'd hear that from other guys that they would wake up in the middle of the night, and always had a hard time dealing with that, and um, and it stopped completely. So I think one of the things that it helped me is it improved uh, uh, my power of decision. Um,
It
and
forced you to up your game, you know?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's the gift, and that's the part, for and we've been low, brother, and we know there are people listening who are low, and they're in pain and they're suffering and they feel so stuck. And what they don't yet haven't begun to realize, because they're stuck in that place, is that realization alone, like I said, can be the gift that comes from this awareness around this struggle, is a great life. And you're a living example of that aggressive pursuit of a great life. Tim, how are things for you now? Let's talk about that.
they're um, they're incredible. I mean, I feel so much better. I mean, I feel like I'm not uh, like I'm in control of my life. I feel I just feel happier. I'm in a much better mood. Um, I'm I feel stronger. Um, I feel like I'm having a greater effect over my family. My daughter, my wife. Um, but both of them are getting into fitness. So um, my daughter is she was worried about she's a teenager. She was worried about that she was gaining weight, and I helped her alter her diet, and she's been working out with me, and she's lost 12 pounds. Um, just having that kind of an effect over your daughter, where before, years ago, you know, um, I'd be acting out to pornography, and being able to um, affect my family, or I guess you could say lead my family in that way. It just makes you feel so much better. I don't feel like I'm a prisoner anymore. I don't feel like I have um, as many barriers as I had before. Um, it's just a better way to live. I mean, a much better way to live.
What do you want to say to that guy who's maybe he's on the fence. He's maybe the problem isn't that bad. Uh,
It'll get bad. This stuff just progresses. You know, that's I've been living with this stuff for decades, and I can look back in my past, and I could see maybe how it wasn't that bad in the beginning. But the problem is, um, it accelerates. And um, when I started this, that there was no internet, there was no internet pornography. That there was, Playboy, and it was the Sears, catalog, um, and that initially that may be why my problem progressed as slowly as it did. But as soon as I was exposed to the internet and pornography, as soon as all that developed, it just took off. So if you don't think it's an issue now, it will be. Um, and that if you're going to end it or intervene uh, in that progression, the time to do it is now, and not when you're in your 50s, um, like it happened with me.
Yeah, that extra decade of mediocrity and malaise, I got to tell you, has an impact. It has an impact on my clients' finances. It has an impact, obviously, on their relationship, impact on their happiness, and it makes breaking the habits just that harder because those um, uh, um, record grooves are that much deeper.
Yeah, yeah, and it's harder. I mean, it's harder to overcome the longer you're you're uh, you're dealing with this. Um, and I just thank God every day that I was able to find um, this level of fitness, this type of workout, um, in order to fight this fight. Um, it completely changed my relationship to pain. Um, I with a porn addiction, I use pornography to bury pain, bury discomfort, uh, and I learned by going through these vigorous workouts not to fear that uh, that that pain, discomfort, um, in a lot of ways are good things. It's how we grow. I mean, that's how you gain muscle in the gym. I mean, you're not going to go in the gym and lift feathers and and gain muscle. Uh, uh, you're going to lift weights and you're going to run and you're going to do aerobic exercise and do burpees and sled drags and you're going to ruck with 45 pounds on your back. I mean, that's not initially that's not comfortable, but you learn. You go through these painful experiences and you come out better in the end. And it taught me to deal with that. And now, if something uncomfortable happens, or if something painful happens in my life, um, I look at that like I would going through a heavy workout at the gym. Just go through it, experience it, and um, you know these painful periods in our lives, is these periods where we face discomfort, just like a workout is at some point going to come to an end. Um, and so just going to the gym is taught me so much, and that's just one example.
That is wonderful. I am so privileged and so honored, Tim, that you've blessed me in your life, and to see what you've achieved and to see how far you've taken this truly embodies the spirit of the cure is the aggressive pursuit of a great life. So please, brothers, you heard it here. You've heard it here before. Whatever you do, you must honor the temple. And rigorous exercise is such an important part of honoring that temple. So follow Tim's path, take care of yourself, practice rigorous self-care, love yourself. Life is way too short to suck. Remember to embrace your power of choice, brothers. Tim, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so blessed that you were, took time out of your day to share your story with us.
I appreciate the opportunity, Craig. I really do, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for me.
Oh man, it is truly a privilege, and to be sharing your story now. Who would have thunk it, man? So excited to see where life is going to take you. I will continue to follow, and look forward to keeping up. Talk to you later. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. See everybody till next time. Bye.